About matrix operations, row operations and column operations. Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes,
Uh, are there any other person who will be joining, or till now 58% is here? Okay, I will start. Okay. So today we will be learning about elementary row operation and column operation of matrix. So why do we need elementary row operation and column operation? Okay, so whenever we are dealing with matrices, the easiest of the matrices are the diagonal matrices, right? So it is only the diagonals. So if we can make some operations by using which we can make a matrix diagonal and also preserve some properties, like we preserve the rank of the matrix, the nullity of the matrix, then it would be good for some calculations regarding matrices. So for that we use this operation called row operation and column operations. So these are actually, these operations always preserve the rank of the matrix, also the nullity of the matrix, the basic characteristics of the matrix. Okay, so we will be learning these operations today. And these operations also, you will be using these operations to basically solve a system of linear equations also in the next class. But today we will be learning how to do these operations, how to use these operations to calculate the rank of a matrix, and how to use these operations to calculate inverse of a matrix if the inverse exists. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so can you see the book?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so basically there are, suppose you have matrix A, M-Gaussian matrix. You can write it like this also, where A and this one in the position of index of this A is the first row of the matrix. Basically, we are writing the row as A1, the first row as A1, second row as A2, and mth row as AM. And we also can write it as like this, where you can check the numbers are in the upper corner of it. That means we're denoting the columns. A1 here means the first column, A2 means the second column, and AN means the nth column of the matrix. Now, what are the operations? So there are three kind of operations regarding row operation and column operation. So I will not be going through the definition here. I'm just going to uh, give an example of each operation. Okay. Suppose I have this matrix. The first kind of operation is multiplying any particular row. Okay, whenever I'm telling about an operation regarding row, the same operation can be you can consider it for column also. Okay, they are basically similar. Row operation, you can, each law of row operation you can consider it for column operation also. Okay, so I'm just telling you about row operation now. So first, there are three kind of row operation. First is interchange. First is multiplying any uh, say real number here for you guys, real number to a row. Okay, and it must be non-zero. The real number r should not be zero. So if I say this matrix A and I operate this matrix with, I am multiplying the second row with say 3, then after the operation the matrix will become like this: 3 to the 6, 9, 30, 12, minus 1, 2, minus 3 and 4. Okay, the first rule, first type of operation, is it clear?
Sir, we also have to divide it by the same number outside, right?
Yes, if you, okay, so the multiplication of matrix is you have to multiply with all the elements, but here you are dealing with row operation. In row operation you can multiply a row with a particular non-zero element, non-zero number. So you cannot multiply with all the columns, all the rows. You just have to multiply with one row only. You can multiply each row with different numbers, but that is three different operations of same type.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. If you basically multiplying a matrix with say R into a matrix A is basically using row operation on each row by multiplying with R. That is, if the matrix is M cross N matrix, that is M number of operations. Clear? Clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is one. Second is you can interchange rows. Okay, whenever I'm telling about multiplying anything, multiplying any number, non-zero number with a row, that is a row operation. Similarly, a column operation, in case of a column operation, you can multiply a column with any number also. That is a one case of column operation. Okay. Now, the second kind of operation is basically interchanging rows. So suppose this matrix A, you want to interchange these two rows, first row and second row. You write it as, I want to interchange 1 and 2. So that will basically give you this result. This first row will become the second row, minus 1, minus 2, 3, minus 1. And second row will become the first row, 10, 4, minus third row will become same. Similarly, for column operation, you will write C12. That means interchanging the place of first column and second column. Okay. Clear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the third kind of operation is multiplying adding a row after multiplying another row with a constant. Suppose this matrix A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 8. Okay. And the third kind of operation, row operation, is like if I say I want to multiply the first row with minus 4 and then add it with the second row. You write it like this: R, 1 means you are multiplying with which row, and in bracket you will have to put multiplying by what, and here 2 means you are adding with which row. Got it? So what will this
Yes, sir.
become? What will this become?
Sir, once more, sir.
Okay. It is the third kind of row operation. Like it is basically multiplying a row with a constant number and then adding it with another row. So suppose the notation is like this. This means R1. 1 means you are multiplying the constant with the first row. And what is the constant? The constant will be in the brackets. Say suppose -4. And with which row you are adding after multiplying? Suppose you want to add it with the second row. Then you write it like this. Clear?
Okay, sir.
So what will it become? Here you are multiplying the first row with -4, then adding it with the second row. What will the second row become?
0, -3, and -6.
0, -3 and -6, right? And these will become 7, right? Clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For everyone it is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you check properly, these row operations are basically row or column operations are basically multiplying the main matrix. You are suppose you are operating on A, then after A, suppose you operate with some operation, first, second, or third one, and you get B. You can check that B is basically some matrix E into A. So now the question is, what is the matrix E? Suppose A was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, and the operation is basically exchanging 1 and 2. So what will A become here? What will B become after this operation? Suppose A becomes B. What is B now? Tell me, anyone?
4, 5,
Yes.
6.
1, 2, 3,
1, 2, 3.
Yes. 7,
7,
8.
8, 9.
Right. Now look, this matrix is 3 cross 3 matrix, right? And suppose, not suppose, let take 3 cross 3 identity matrix and use the same operation you used here. So basically R12. What will it become?
0, 1, 0.
Yeah. Then
1, 0, 0.
0, 0, 1, right?
0, 0, 1.
This is E basically. Check here. If you multiply E with A, that is 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, and A was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It will give you B. Look. Right.
So does this always hold for all the operations?
For column operations, you will get like this. For row operations, you will get like this. Suppose you are operating 2 row operations simultaneously. First one is suppose interchanging the rows, and second one is suppose the multiplying row and adding it with another row. Third one. So you will get 2 matrices. For the first one, you will get E1, and for the second operation, you will get E2. And you can check that you are initially operating on A. You can check that this will become the new matrix. It is always true for row operations, but for column operations the matrix multiplication will be from the right side. For column operations, if you wait, I'm giving you an example. Suppose the matrix is 1 2 3 7 8 9 4 5 6, and this is A, and I say that you are multiplying 2 with -1 and then adding with 1. What will you get? -6, right? -6 minus 6 again, and -6 again, right?
Yes, sir.
You will get this. Now it is a 3 cross 3 matrix, so I will be taking I 3 cross 3 and then use the same operation, -1. What will you get? Basically your second column and -1. Okay, so you will get 1 0 0 -1 1 0 0 0 1. You will get this, I guess, right? No, actually, sorry. Actually, I did the row
You
operation
did
here.
raw operation.
Yeah.
Sir, is
Wait. What will it be then? It will become -1, -1 and -1, right? 2 8 5 3 9 6. It will become like this, right?
yes, sir.
Now look here. If you multiply, this is our E. If you multiply A with E from the right side, you will get 1 2 3 7 8 9 4 5 6 1 0 0 -1 1 0 0 0 1. You will get 1 1 -1 -1, then 2, then 3, -1 8 9 -1 5 6, right?
Yes.
So basically, whenever you are doing row operation, you are getting a matrix E, which you can get by doing the same operation on the same dimensional identity matrix, and you are multiplying it from left. But when you are doing column operation, you are multiplying it from right. That is the difference. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Everyone clear? Okay. So now I said that these row operation and column operations are rank preserving. Okay. So one question for you guys. Suppose I have a matrix A. Okay. I have a matrix A, which is suppose 1 2 3 4, 2 cross 2 matrix. Okay. Now my question is, I told you yesterday in your previous class that a matrix is nothing but a linear transformation, right? Matrix is linear transformation, right? So what is the corresponding linear transformation of A? Can anyone tell me? Suppose TA is the corresponding linear transformation. What is it then? What is this?
Chatin.
What will be the result of this? TA x1 x2. Simple. As they are
Sir,
same.
x 2x2 comma 3x1 plus 4x2.
Come again.
X1 plus 2x2 comma 3x1 plus 4x2.
Plus 4x2. How do you get it?
So so that matrix A is multiplied with the column matrix x1
Yes.
x2.
Yes. Basically, this matrix is similar to this linear transformation. So I can write a point x1 comma x2 as column matrix like this. So, and the result in both cases will be the same, right? So if you multiply with this thing, it will give you the same result. So this is the transformation. So now my question is, suppose a matrix is given to you, and I suppose the rank of the suppose the dimension of the matrix is say, let's say square matrix n cross n, and now and the rank of the matrix, I'm not defined rank yet, but for matrices, but suppose the rank of the matrix is say L, where L is strictly less than n. Now, what can you tell about the inverse of A? Is inverse of A possible or not?
Not possible.
Why?
So because if rank of A is is L, which is less than N, then mapping that A corresponds wouldn't be bijective.
Yes. So
And if it's not bijective, then we cannot find any.
yes. So basically, rank of A is less than n means their null space is basically not equals to 0. Null space is more than 0, right? And null space is 0 means we know that null space is 0 means injective. So injective means null space is 0. Null space is non-zero means it cannot be injective, so inverse doesn't exist. So for inverse for existence of inverse, a function have to be injective. Bijection is not needed always, but injectivity is always needed for inversion. So null space is not equals to 0. From where I can tell it?
Rank nullity
L is
theorem.
less than N.
Yes. Yes. So null space is not 0 means it's not injective, and it's not injective means inverse doesn't exist. So a matrix always have an inverse if the rank is full, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now come to these. Here they have given the examples I already given you with different matrices. Okay. Now now how to get a rank of a matrix. Okay. Another thing is this theorem. Check. This theorem tells that if P and Q are invertible matrices, okay, and if you multiply a matrix, suppose A is multiplied by Q here from the right side, then rank of AQ is always equals to rank of A. Okay, rank I have defined for you, right, in the previous class in linear transformation.
Sir, you told a little bit about it, like it's the range space, dimension of the range space.
That is the thing. For matrix also, the dimension of the corresponding linear transformation of the matrix, the range space of the corresponding linear transformation of the matrix. That is the rank. That is the only definition of rank. Okay. Now,
Okay, sir.
now this theorem, I am not proving this theorem to you, but this theorem states that suppose A is a matrix.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir. The theorem proof will come in exam or not?
Theorem proof, I don't know, but generally it doesn't come in engineering maths. It doesn't come that generally. Okay, but
Okay, so these are for BSc Math,
these are
for BSc Mathematics.
not BSc.
The
These
proof.
proofs, yeah, generally the proofs come in BSc Mathematics, but the proofs are the thing that develops the subject, right? So
Yes,
I am not going through the proofs for you guys because it is not important for you for exam purpose. But the statement of the theorems that are mainly important for you guys. If you understand the statement properly,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
then you can use that for suppose for a problem solving, right?
Okay.
But if you go through, I will encourage you to go through the proofs because these proofs will make the subject more interesting to you. But I will not suppress the thing that you have to go through the proof, but it is encouraged. Okay. But the statement here
Okay,
is, statement of this theorem is, suppose A is a matrix of dimension m cross n, or you can say m cross n matrix, not dimension. Okay. And P is a matrix which is invertible of m cross n, and Q is n cross n. So if you want to multiply Q with A, you have to multiply it from the right side. So rank of AQ will be equal to rank of A. This is the theorem. And rank of PA will be equal to rank of A. Given P and Q are invertible. If P and Q are not invertible, you cannot say it. But since P and Q are invertible, you can always say that rank of A and AQ equals to rank of A and rank of PA equals to rank of A. So combining both these two, you can always say rank of PAQ equals to rank of A, where P and Q are invertible, right? P and Q are invertible is plays a proper role for the proof of this theorem. So they have to be invertible, otherwise you cannot tell this. Clear? The statement, is it clear? Shall I state it again?
So explain a bit more. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Basically, we are dealing with, suppose you have given a matrix A and you know the rank of the matrix. Okay. Now, a question occurs to you. What if I multiply with A with some other matrix? What will be the rank? You want to know. So the answer is given through this theorem that not the general answer, you cannot tell for all matrices, but if the matrix by which you are multiplying is invertible, then you can tell that the rank will be the same. Clear?
So rank of which matrix will be the same? Rank of
Rank of the multiplied matrix A and Q will be the same as the previously given matrix A.
okay.
Okay. Initially, you have only A.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So basically, what does it tell? If a matrix A is given and you multiply from left or right, it doesn't matter. If you multiply with the invertible matrix, the rank of the matrix after multiplication and previous multiplication is equal. Now, I told you that row and column operation preserve rank. Row and column operation, what are row and column operation? Row and column operation are basically multiplying with a matrix E with the initial matrix A. right? If row operation, then multiplying it with from left, and if column operation, you're multiplying it from right, say F. Now you can easily check that these matrices are invertible always. So whatever we do, the rank of this matrix is basically what we get after row and column operation, right? Right.
Yes, sir.
Is basic nothing but rank of the initial given matrix, because these two are invertible. Right? Clear? Why they preserve rank? Why after element row operation and column operation, the rank is always preserved? Why? Is it clear now?
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir. It is clear.
Okay. By the way, these matrices, like these E matrices, what we get with the same operation we do on the identity matrix, these matrices are called elementary matrices. Okay. Okay. Now,
স্যার এইটার ক্ষেত্রে র্যাঙ্ক কে কিভাবে হচ্ছে র্যাঙ্ক পি এ ইজিক্যাল টু র্যাঙ্ক কে
which one? That I told you, no? That this which one? This one. This one you are telling, right? The proof.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
The
sir,
proof.
yes, sir.
The proof I will tell later. Okay. After the class, I will. Whoever is interested can contact me via WhatsApp. I will tell the proof there. But this is general class, and I have to finish the syllabus also. So I'm skipping the proof right now. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now, wait. Okay, this one is done. Okay. Okay, so another thing, you can see rank of a matrix also as the number of linearly independent columns of a matrix. Like here, if I give you a matrix A, 1 0 0 0 0 1 2 1 0, what is the rank of the matrix?
3.
Sir, 2.
Why 2? It is 3 actually. Okay. Look here, these three column vectors, they are linearly independent. So the number of column vectors who are linearly independent is 3. So the rank is 3. You remember how to check linear independence or dependence? Okay. Another thing, I will be giving you an assignment today or tomorrow, and for the previous lessons, based on previous lessons. Okay. So it will be good for you, because it will be a recap for you guys. So is it clear that these 3 column vectors are linearly independent?
Yes, sir.
So the rank of
Yes,
A is 3. And I'm not going through the proof.
So third column to linear dependent.
How?
2 minus 2 times 1 0 plus 0. 2 minus 2 times 1 plus 0 times 0.
These 3 vectors, a vector to a vector to a vector, these three vectors, are they dependent or independent?
Oh, they are independent, sir.
Dependence is always not a single. You can tell a single vector is always linearly independent, but whenever, so basically generally whenever you are telling about linear dependence or independence, you have to consider a set of vectors. So here the set of three vectors you have to consider and check if they are linearly dependent or not. So here they are linearly independent, so rank is 3. Clear? Okay. Now, how to calculate rank? Okay. They have given a detailed procedure here, but I will just show you with a smaller matrix. I will be giving 2 examples. Suppose A, 1, 2, 3, 5, 2, 1, minus 1, 0, 3, 2, 1, 3. The question is, what is the rank of the matrix? You will now use row operation and column operation. The initial target of you should be making the first 1 element non-zero and the other elements of the column 0. So for that, which operation you can use, which row operation you can use? You can multiply the first row with -2, and if you add with second row, look, this will become 0, right?
Yes, sir.
And also if you multiply the first
0.
row with -3 and add it with the third row, this will also become 0, right? And it will become, first row will become be the same. The second row, it will become 0. It will become -4 plus 1, -3, -6 minus 1, -7, -10 plus 0, that is -10. This will become 0, -6 plus 2, -4, -9 plus 1, -8, -15 plus 3, -12. Now you have to okay, whenever I get a column like this where one is the first, basically one element is non-zero, otherwise all the elements are 0, then I will check for the first non-zero, first 0 of that column, and I will check the next element of that same row. So basically here I will check 3. Now the target is to make this one 0. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what operation do you need here? You want to make this 0, and you want to maintain these zeros also. You want to maintain these zeros also, and you want to make these a 0. So if I now use R2 multiplied by -4/3 and add it with 3, it will become 0, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And it will remain same. It will become 0, and what will be -7 into -4/3, 28/3 minus 8. What is 28/3 minus 8? 4/3. it will become minus 40 by 3 minus 12. 40 by 3 minus 12. 36, 4 by 3. It will again become 4 by 3. Right? Now you want to check how many look, this column and this column, they are linearly independent. You can check it by looking only, because using these two you cannot get basically they're linearly independent, because if you want them to be dependent, then you have to write one vector corresponding to the other vector, right? But you cannot write them because the zeros are placed that way that you cannot write a vector regarding the other vector using the other vector, right?
Yes, sir.
So these two vectors are linearly independent. Now comes this vector. This vector, this one. These three vectors are also linearly independent, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because again, in the previous two vectors, the third position was 0 in both cases, but here it is non-zero, so you cannot write this vector in terms of the other two vectors. So it is also, these three vectors are also linearly independent, right? Now, since these column vectors are of 3 elements, so you always can write this vector using these 3 vectors. Clear? Or do I have to tell it? This column vector, each column vector has 3 elements. So, and there are 3.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear.
There are 3 big column vectors. They will
Clear, sir. Clear.
they will span R3. It is a member of R3, so it will be dependent, right? So basically,
Yes, sir.
there are 3 independent vectors, so rank is 3. You don't have to check it the independence vector here also. You will just check these elements. These are called pivot elements. 1 here. So what was that? 1, 2, 3, 5. 0, minus 3, minus 7, minus 10. 0, 0, 4 by 3, 4 by 3. Whenever you get a element here and all the other elements below it are 0, this element is called pivot element. There are 2 pivot element, 0 or there is no other element. So it is also a pivot element. There are 3 pivot elements, right? So the rank is 3. Clear?
Clear.
Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in here, they have done the same thing, but they have diagonalized. I have not diagonalized the matrix here. So for rank, you don't have to diagonalize the matrix always, but here, look, what they have done, they have used the same operations and they reach to a diagonal matrix, and diagonal matrix has 3 elements, so rank is 3. It will be more clear to you. What here they have done in the first matrix, look, they have interchanged the first row and second row. Look, right? Can everyone see the book or do I have to zoom more?
Yes, sir. We can see.
Okay. So in the first case here, they have interchanged the first row and second row. Look. After that, what they have done, they have multiplied the first row by 1 by 4. and they have got this matrix. Then what they have done, they have they have made all these elements 0 by that operation what I have told you right now. They have multiplied it, it is already 0, so they don't have to do anything here. They multiplied this one first row with -8, and then add it with the third row, and you will get a 0 here. And for the fourth row, they have multiplied the first row with -6 and add it with the fourth row. You will get 0 here, right? And this operation makes this matrix. And from here, they have done a column operation now. They made this element 0 also, right? Clear till now?
Yes, sir.
From here, they again did one thing. They again multiplied the second row with half and get this matrix. Now look, there is one pivot element already there, this one, and they want to make this one also a pivot element. So for this 0, right? This -6 and -3 0, right?
Yes, sir.
So for that, what they have done, they have multiplied the second row with 6 and add it with the third row. It will make this -6 0, and multiplied the second row with -3 and add it with the fourth row. It will make -3 0. Here they have made it 0, and by doing that you get this matrix. And again they want to make this 2 1 1 0 also using column operation. Similarly, they have used the column operation and made this 0. Now these two pivot elements are there, this one and this one. Now they want to make this 4 a pivot element. For that you need to make this 2 0. So how does they want, how they will make this 2 0? What will be the operation? Tell me, anyone? Which row they want to multiply with which constant and add to which row?
So third row multiply by half and
Minus half, and add it with the fourth row, right? So it will become 0. It will become oh wait, they have multiplied it by 1 by 4 here, then does this thing, then they have made it 0, and they want to make this 2 0 also. For that they use the same column operation. The third column multiplied by -2 and then adding it with the fourth column, and they get this diagonal matrix. Here there are 3 non-zero entries in the diagonal matrix, so the rank is 3. Clear? Or do I write it down for you guys again from the first? This will be a question, okay? The rank will be a question in your exam. Sure, for sure, a question will come where you have to get a rank of a matrix. So you have to be very clear. If you don't, if you are not getting it, then ask me again. So I suppose everyone understood, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here for this matrix, the rank is 3, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the nullity of the
Yes,
matrix?
sir.
What is the nullity of the matrix?
The 2.
One, sir. One.
One.
Why one?
It is
Oh, the rank nullity theorem. 4
Rank
minus
nullity.
3.
The matrix is 5 cross 5.
Oh, sorry.
five group.
Oh, yes. This is 5 cross 5. Sorry.
So what will be the nullity?
So from somewhere I have read that means the row, if one row have all elements 0, then the number of such row will be the nullity. So here the one row is 0 completely. So nullity is
Two
1.
two row are zero. Two
Column
no, two columns are zero here also.
2 will be the nullity.
Basically, look here. One thing. Whenever there is a transformation T, from say V to W, where V is dimension of V is say N and dimension of W say M. Then the matrix you get corresponding to T, say TA, the matrix will be of M cross N. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what does rank nullity theorem tell you? Rank plus nullity equals to dimension of V, here N, right? So rank of a matrix, say rank of a matrix A M cross N plus nullity of the matrix A M cross N will give you N. So here in that case 1 1 1 and 0 0 and all other elements are 0. Here N is 5 and rank is 3. So nullity is 2. N is 5, rank is 3. So rank plus nullity equals to 5. So nullity is 2. Clear? Okay. Now, now another thing. Now comes the third thing, which is inversion of a matrix using these operations. So suppose you have a matrix A, which is invertible, say, and you have which is of M cross N, and you have the identity matrix corresponding to M cross N. Now, if you both multiply A inverse, with both matrices, what you will get? Here you will get M cross N, here you will get A inverse, right? Right.
Yes, sir.
Sir, inverse will exist for an M cross N matrix.
Okay.
This will-
Let's say let's first now say square matrix. But first, if the matrix is not square, then and if the rank is suppose the rank is equal to a number of columns, then one-sided inverse might exist. Like if you
Yes, sir.
from right side a square, if you multiply with a matrix B, you can get I, but left side, from left side you cannot find such matrix. So, and for inverse we generally mean inverse, right? You can multiply it with both sides and you will get the identity. So for that we are taking square matrices. Okay. So suppose another thing, if you are given a matrix A, say 1 2 3 4, not 3 4, 0 1, suppose, and you can get another matrix, say augmented matrix. Augmented matrix by writing this as okay. This is one kind of augmented matrix. Basically, if I have two matrices, you can always write two matrices like this, and this is called a augmented matrix. Okay. Here the B matrix is basically identity matrix. Now, by using row operation, you can make this matrix a identity matrix. And if you use the same row operation here, what will you get? Row operation is basically multiplying with elementary matrix. So if I multiply with some elementary matrix here and same elementary matrix here, and if I get if I get identity here, what will you get here?
So 1 minus 2 0 1. Inverse.
What? Inverse, yeah. You will get the inverse here. Clear? Basically, we are using this technique. We are multiplying with the A inverse in both sides. And how we are getting the inverse? We are using row operation to make this identity. That means it must be the inverse, right? Tell me if it is not clear.
Clear.
Everyone clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I am just getting answers from some people only. Is everyone listening? I don't know.
Yes, sir. But sir, one question, sir. What is the significance of augmented matrix?
Significance is basically, it is just a notation. You can write the matrix like this, and by writing like this, you will just basically you are getting two matrices side by side, so you don't have to do it differently. If you don't use augmented matrix, it's fine. If I suppose if I don't want to use the augmented matrix, what I will do, I will just get this matrix A, and suppose I use some row operation on A to get the matrix I, and I will calculate what I get as E and use the same E with I letter. Then I will get the inverse. So I don't have to use the augmented matrix here. But if I use the augmented matrix, I'm just seeing these two things side by side. So it is easy to represent and all. So for representation purpose, we are using the augmented matrix. Okay, so suppose I want to calculate the inverse of these 1 2 0 1. For that, I use the augmented matrix here like this. Now I want to make this matrix the identity matrix. So for that, I have to make it 0, right? So what do I have to make it 0? What column operation I have to use here?
So minus 2 into the second column, second row.
Yeah, or if minus 2
R2 1 minus 2.
R2
1 minus 2.
this one, right? And you will get 1 0 0 1, and here you will get this matrix. What will it become?
1 minus 2 0 1.
So this is the inverse of our initial matrix A. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So this
Yes,
is
sir.
a process of getting the inverse. And now suppose you don't know if the
Sir,
if the matrix is not invertible, right?
sir, one thing, sir, the notation is R12 minus 2 or R21 minus 2.
uh, Look, in different books there are different notations. In Friedberg they haven't used this notation also. They are just using the first kind of operation, second kind operation, and third kind operation. So in general this notation is easy to remember.
Sir, so we can write like like if you want to write like 1 into R1 minus 2 into R2, we can write that like in the arrow.
Like how? R1 into
So
this and
1 into R1 plus minus 2 into R2.
minus 2 into R2. You can write it like that also.
Okay, sir.
Okay. But whenever you write it like this in exam and all, you just mention that how are you using the notations, what are the significance of the notations, you write in some corner in third bracket and all. Okay. Okay. What I was telling, suppose the matrix is not invertible, so then how can I say that it will become the inverse? In that case, whenever you are doing the row operation, you can always check the rank of the matrix is not equal to the whole n, right? The number of columns. Then you can say the rank is not equals to n, so the matrix is not invertible, so we cannot get inverse, right?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, for today it is done. Any question?
Sir, instead we can say that it is invertible because the determinant is not 0. Means if we don't want to use the nullity or the rank like
Okay,
this one.
now suppose I give you a 100 cross 100 matrix. Will the determinant, can you easily get the determinant then? Not suppose 100 cross 100. I give you a 5 cross 5 matrix.
Okay, in this case it will be a little tough.
Yeah. So this is basically an algorithm for finding a rank in easy way. So basically you are using how many operations here? I guess in order of mn. You know the algorithm order and all, time complexity.
Sir, in the programming language or in the mathematics?
Yeah. In programming language,
Yes, sir, I know.
you know, right? So I guess this algorithm for getting the rank or getting the inverse is in order of mn.
Yes,
If
sir, big
I
of him.
big of mn, but if I want to
So we don't know, sir.
calculate the determinant, what? Hello. Okay, I'm not getting into that order of mn thing. So I suppose everyone will not understand it right now. Leave. So basically today's class it is done. Any other questions?
Sir, the
Fine, right?
assignment, sir.
Assignment I'll be giving you on WhatsApp. Like I want to check which question I will be giving you guys. Okay.
Okay.
Suppose say let's say on Sunday I will be come again.
স্যার অ্যাসাইনমেন্টে কোন কোন চ্যাপ্টারগুলোর মধ্যে থাকবে?
Okay. The previous chapters like till now, what I have uh, taught you right till today, it will be there in the assignment.
Okay, sir.
How many students are there in your batch in construction and IE? Total?
Sir, 48 in construction. 55 in
And
IE.
IE,
55.
so 48, 48 for plus 55, right? So that means,
But sir, not all are actives.
okay. But all are not doing the classes or
So
what?
they have left.
Okay. How many are there? 44. Okay, tell them that there will be an assignment, and for each of them there will be 4 questions, and 4 questions from, I guess there are 4 chapters I have taught you, 4 or 5 chapters. The number of chapters I have taught you till now, there will be that many questions for each one of them. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And
Okay.
okay, and for the next class, I will be teaching you how to solve system of linear equations. System of linear equations is basically like this. This is system of linear equation. So n variables, n equations you have to solve. And using linear algebra, there is a beautiful way of solving it. So I'll be teaching you in the next class this. And do you have syllabus for you guys for this linear algebra portion? Do you know?
Yes, sir, we have the syllabus.
You have the syllabus, right? So there are determinants in the syllabus also, but I will not be teaching the determinant chapter because I think you have already studied that in your 12th or 11th, right? So that will I will not be teaching. And what things are left there? Let me check.
Sir, echelon form and solution of system of linear equation, Cramer's rule,
Yeah,
matrix
yeah.
inversion.
Matrix inversion. Matrix inversion is this thing I have taught you today, and there is
Yes, sir.
another thing called Cayley-Hamilton
Eigenvalues are
theorem.
left,
Yeah. Eigenvalues are also left. Okay.
then characteristic equations.
Yeah. Eigenvalue, characteristic equation. Okay. Cramer's rule is there.
Did you teach the Cayley-Hamilton theorem?
No, I haven't. That will be after the characteristics equation.
Yes, sir, it is also left.
Okay, so basically 3 or 4 more classes, I guess. Okay, the syllabus will be over by then. Okay. Okay, it's over for today.